1010 Razzmatazz from the Nanobox series of synthesizers. It's an 8-voice drum machine. Each voice has 2 FM oscillators and a sample, plus 2 filters, 2 envelopes, a resonator, a snap generator, reverb and delay sends, and 4 distortion types. It has 8 touchscreen pads, or you can play it with a MIDI controller, and you can make 16 patterns using the internal sequencer with it at one time. When you get this, first you want to update the OS, which is a bin file, and you take out this SD card here and delete the old bin file and put the new one in. And when you turn it back on, you'll have the new OS. And you power it up using this USB. Use a USB charger to do this, because if you hook it to your computer to power it up, you will get a ground loop and you'll get a humming in the audio, maybe. Let me first go into the organization of it. If you long hold the home button, you see this navigation menu of the pages on the device. And so we can go and start out with pads home. Here you can have 8 playable drum pads, and up at the top you have the stack symbol. And let me push that, and you can copy the pads, paste them, rename them, save them, load a new pad with a different sound or sample. You hit the back button. You have the preset title up here at the top. You press that and you can select from a bunch of presets, and what that is the sounds of the 8 pads and sequences that you've made. And touching the measure count up here in the top right, it'll take you to the transport page where you've got your record, stop, and play, but you've got BPM swing, you've got metronome level, metronome on and off, and the tap tempo there. Let's take a look at the first pad here. The first pad is a little different than the rest, because on the first pad you can have a sample clip or a sample slicer. I have a sample slicer on there, so that each time I press the pad, I'm getting a different random sample every time. That's only possible if you have a wave file with slice markers on it. I'm lucky because my Dirty Wave M8 has the ability to make those special wave files with slice markers. And so the Razzmatazz is able to read those 16 slices and randomize them. So if you have a wave file like that and you put it on the first pad, you can have it randomize the slices right down here. So you can have none, where it's just going to play the whatever slice numbers here, 1 through 16, that you have up, or it can do forward, backward, random, staggered. So I'll keep that on random. And there's the representation of the file. And your slice will have an envelope on it that you can use. By adjusting this top encoder here, you can adjust the volume. See that going up and down there? And so now we're on the mixer page. And so these top numbers represent the volume of the different pads. The bottom indicator is the pan. And if I right arrow over, I see then the mutes. So I can mute certain tracks and bring them back. When I'm on the mixer page, if I hit the stack symbol again, it gives me the FX sends. And if I hit the right arrow while I'm on this page, I will get the FX parameters for the delay, FX1 delay, FX2 reverb, FX3 cabinet distortion. Let's take a look at that kick. And if we hit the right arrow, And you see we can adjust the decay of it. And the distortion. And we have a filter on each pad. Right here is OS/WA is where you can adjust between the oscillators and the wave file, because you can have two FM oscillators and a sample in each voice. So this one's mostly, if not all, FM synthesis. And so if we hit the right arrow again, you can see the different waves that make it up. So we have oscillator 1 right here. If I touch that, I can see that it's a triangle waveform and the level of it, and I could even change what the waveform is. You can change the pitch, detune and phase and things like that in the FM amount. Mod pitch, FM feedback. And you could have a little modulation matrix here where certain things can change these parameters. If you see these 3 pink boxes out to the right on any of these, it's one that's modulatable by these different sources. Envelope 1, 2, LFO, velocity, pressure, mod wheel. And if we hit the other wave, we can see what its parameters are. And then if we want to, we can add a sample to this by clicking here, add wave file. Then we can load a wave file into there if we wanted to. We've got this configuration page where we can change the overall volume and brightness, turn on a limiter, and change MIDI settings there. And we could change the input gain in FX1 and 2 of the input, an input signal. Now let's go take a look at the sequencer. We'll go to Sequence Home, and we can see the first sequence there. If we hit the right arrow, this is the sequencer. Now the top encoder will change between the 8 pads. And you can see grayed out behind some of the other samples that are in there. So for the kick, this shows you where all the trigs for the kick are. And then this little indicator here on the right shows you that there's 2 pages of it. And so by hitting the stack symbol there, you can see the second page of 16. It's a pretty cool little sequencer. And then when you put a trigger in here for, say, the kick, if you hit the right arrow, you can change the velocity of each trigger. You can change the step length and step count for each pad, so they can be independent of the other pads.
I hope this helps you get started with the Razzmatazz. And I will put that amen break with the slice markers on my Patreon. And I'll see you over there. Thanks for watching. See you next time.